North Korea, South Korea, the demilitarized zone. This is the most heavily guarded border on the planet, stretching roughly 250 kilometers across the Korean peninsula. The DMZ is a place where peace exists only on paper. Despite its name, the demilitarized zone is anything but demilitarized. On both sides, soldiers stand just meters apart, weapons loaded, eyes locked, fingers close to the trigger. Beneath the soil lie millions of landmines, remnants of a war that never officially ended. Anyone who attempts to cross without authorization is treated not as a trespasser, but as an enemy combatant. For North Korean defectors, the DMZ represents both hope and death. Those who fail to escape are often shot on sight. Those who succeed become global symbols of survival. One wrong step here doesn't lead to prison, it leads to silence. Afghanistan, Pakistan, the Durand line. This border was drawn by outsiders and paid for in blood ever since. The Durand line cuts through rugged mountains and tribal lands, splitting communities that existed long before modern states. There are no clear markers in many areas, no fences, no rules, only guns and loyalties. This region has become a sanctuary for Taliban fighters, ISIS-K militants, smugglers, and arms traffickers. Governments struggle to control it, militants exploit it, civilians are trapped inside it. Military operations, drone strikes, suicide bombings, they happen without warning. Here, crossing the border doesn't mean changing countries. It means entering a war you didn't choose. Mexico, United States. This is not a battlefield between armies, but it has claimed thousands of lives. Every year, migrants attempt the journey north, fleeing violence, poverty, and desperation. They face drug cartels, human traffickers, armed smugglers, and the unforgiving desert itself. Heat alone has killed more people than bullets. Some die of dehydration, others disappear without a trace. The border is watched by drones, patrol vehicles, cameras, and armed agents. But danger doesn't only come from enforcement, it comes from the criminal networks that profit from human suffering. For many, the border is the final test, and for too many, it's the final chapter. India, Pakistan, the line of control, Kashmir. Two nations, one disputed region, and enough nuclear weapons to end the world. The line of control in Kashmir is not a formal border, but a constantly shifting line of hostility. Gunfire erupts without warning. Artillery shells land near villages. Snipers watch from mountain ridges. Civilians live normal lives until the shooting starts. India and Pakistan have fought multiple wars over this land, and tension here can escalate in hours. A single incident, a single miscalculation could trigger consequences far beyond the mountains. For soldiers stationed here, every night could be the night peace breaks. Israel, Gaza Strip. This is one of the most tense and volatile borders on Earth, a narrow strip of land, over 2 million people, and a border sealed by concrete walls, watchtowers, and airspace control. The Israel-Gaza border is a flashpoint of recurring war. Rockets, airstrikes, ground incursions. Violence can erupt at any moment. Civilians live knowing the warning siren may be their only notice. Crossings are tightly controlled. Movement is restricted. Supplies can become scarce during escalations. For people on both sides, the border represents fear of attack, political deadlock, and a conflict with no clear end. Here, peace is not broken, it is simply postponed. Sudan, South Sudan. This border was born from hope and quickly drowned in chaos. When South Sudan gained independence, celebration turned into civil war. Along the border, ethnic militias roam freely, Armed groups recruit children. Famine follows violence. There are few clear checkpoints, few laws, and almost no protection for civilians. Entire villages have been wiped out overnight. Refugees cross back and forth, often fleeing one crisis only to meet another. At this border, survival isn't about politics. It's about making it through the next day. Colombia, Venezuela. This border isn't defined by tanks, but by criminal power. As Venezuela's economy collapsed, millions fled across the border into Colombia. But the crossing is controlled in many areas by drug cartels, armed gangs, guerrilla groups. Illegal crossings, known as trochas, are dangerous pathways ruled by extortion and violence. Migrants are robbed, recruited, or simply disappear. Law enforcement presence is weak, and corruption allows criminal networks to thrive. This border doesn't ask your passport. It asks what you're willing to lose. Russia, Ukraine. This is no longer a border. It is an active war zone. Since the outbreak of full-scale conflict, border regions have been transformed into battlefields. Missiles fall without warning. Drones watch from the sky. Landmines wait beneath the soil. Civilians who once lived normal lives now measure time by explosions. Entire towns have been evacuated. Others have been erased. Crossing this border means entering artillery fire, occupied territory, or forced displacement. At this line, the map is redrawn not by ink, but by force. Somalia, Kenya. This border is guarded not just by fences, but by fear. Stretching across deserts and remote terrain, the Somalia-Kenya border is a front line against terrorism. The militant group Al-Shabaab has used this border to launch suicide bombings, armed raids, kidnappings. Villages near the border live under constant threat. Attacks often come without warning and vanish just as quickly. For civilians, the danger isn't crossing the border, it's living beside it. Kenya has responded with heavy militarization, but the vast terrain makes total control nearly impossible. Here, the border is less a line and more an open wound. Haiti, Dominican Republic. On one side, collapse. On the other, stability struggling to hold. Haiti's political breakdown and gang violence have pushed thousands toward the Dominican border, but the crossing is tense and dangerous. Smuggling networks profit from desperation, human trafficking thrives in the shadows, and mass deportations create fear and chaos. Families are separated, lives are uprooted, and safety is never certain. The border has become a symbol of inequality, where survival depends on which side you are born on. Here, danger doesn't explode, it quietly suffocates. Myanmar, Bangladesh. This border tells one of the darkest humanitarian stories of our time. The Rohingya people fled Myanmar to escape military violence and persecution. Along the border, landmines remain buried, traffickers prey on refugees, camps overflow beyond capacity. Many escape the violence, only to become prisoners of displacement. Children grow up without nationality. Families wait years without hope of return. At this border, the danger isn't crossing, it's never being allowed to go home. Turkey, Syria. This border stands between war and fragile safety. Syria's civil war turned the Turkish border into one of the world's busiest and most dangerous crossings. Airstrikes, militant groups, smuggling routes. Millions of refugees have crossed here, often under gunfire or bombings. Some make it through, others don't. Turkey built walls and heavily fortified the border, but violence continues to spill across. This is where survival meets exhaustion and hope meets reality.